Back at it again on day 3. Today was day 3 of the TikTok psychic trial. And today, dude, every day, honestly, it's just been crazy. Today was basically equally as crazy as yesterday. Today was way heavier than yesterday, though. Yesterday, we had more laughably stupid stuff happening. Today, it was more sad and pathetic. Like it was very pathetic. Pathetic is what really wraps up everything about today's court hearing. So yeah, let's talk about it because we're back at it again and we have way too many notes. I was fairly locked in with the notes today, and I do obviously I have to put a massive disclaimer here. Obviously, I took notes throughout the entire trial, so I'm not 100% quoting them word for word. I'm just conveying the message that was being said here, because I'm gonna be real. On a good day, I'm writing like 80 words per minute or something like that on my keyboard. They talk a whole lot faster than that, so there's a lot that I'm kind of like missing, and I kind of have to like TLDR the sentences. So yeah. But it's safe to say it was interesting. So the whole trial, or like the court hearing, started off today with another Rebecca being brought up on the stand. And just to, TLDR, today we're talking about the TikTok psychic. The TikTok psychic, she is currently in the middle of a defamation case because she spent the last roughly 3 years of her life slandering and defaming an innocent professor that works at the University of Idaho. So she concocted this whole Wattpad fanfic, essentially, about how this professor allegedly was behind the murders, the horrific murders of the 4 University of Idaho students. Obviously, that is not true. She has zero proof. That did not happen. I feel so bad for the professor that her life was completely flipped upside down from this. And today, we really found out about really just how much this poor professor's life has been turned upside down and how much this has affected her and her family and the loved ones around her. It's so bad. So today started off with a different Rebecca, so not Rebecca Schofield, who's the professor. Today, Rebecca Talent was called up. So, and also to reiterate, Rebecca Schofield, she's the professor, and you have Ashley Gilliard, she's the TikTok psychic. Ashley, again today, just kind of came across as a moron. And she didn't only come across as a moron, she also came across as just a nasty person. Like, she just became even, like, she wasn't likable to begin with, but after today, I was like, wow, this person has a cold heart. This is just bad. So, starting everything off, we have Rebecca Talent. She was brought up on the stand for questioning. And let's see. Rebecca Talent was brought up for questioning because she worked in academia, and I guess she was a social media expert. She's been apparently doing not social media work, but social interactions and PR stuff since 1975. And she got a doctorate in 1995 when it comes to public perception. So not social media, public perception. Perception. She's been doing public perception since 1975, and then finally got her doctorate in it in 1995. So, starting off, I'm trying to see. Yeah, when I walked in, it seemed like, okay, so Ashley was the one who was doing the questions from the start when I walked in. Sorry, there's just so much. Again, unfortunately, I'm sitting here with 45 pages. So remembering how the order of everything started, a little bit crazy. Okay, so to start off with Ashley, the TikTok psychic, questioning Rebecca Talent over here. And here she started out by saying, what is your opinion on someone who hasn't suffered no damages so far. Go with no damages. Go with no damages now to damages 100 years down the line. That was okay. So that was the first question. That doesn't really make sense, and because of that, the judge stopped her. So I'm just going to reiterate that just to make sure I didn't read that wrong. What is your opinion on someone who hasn't suffered no damages so far? Go with no damages now to damages 100 years down the line. Okay, that's kind of what was going on. So the judge stopped her because they were like, okay, how is she going to even answer that? I don't know. What happened? Atozy, why did you sleep? Well, hey, that's actually why I'm kind of late, because I laid down on that sofa back there and I accidentally fell asleep for 2 hours, which is why the stream is way later than what I wanted to. So yes, I'm catching up on sleep a little bit, not enough. Hopefully I'll get some more sleep when I get back home. Anyway, back to the thing. How long does it take for damages to affect someone? Because again, this is a damages hearing. And just so it's already established, Ashley Gilliard has already been found liable for defamation, because this is a civil suit. This is not a criminal suit. So no one's guilty here. They're just found liable. So she's already been found liable for defamation. Now they're essentially here in court trying to figure out how much money Ashley Gilliard, the TikTok psychic, owes Rebecca Schofield, the professor. So yeah, that's why we're here today. So she's asking, how long does it take for damages to affect someone? And Rebecca Talent then responds, it can happen pretty quick, and damages can range from embarrassment to someone losing job or opportunities, losing their job or opportunities. Next question. Would you say that Schofield has the support of the academic community? I can't say yes or no to that because I wasn't on campus. So I don't know what the universal outcome for this is now. You say that online statements can cause someone losing the support of the academic community. If someone hasn't lost anything and has the support from her boss and hasn't lost anything career-wise in the last 3 minutes, why am I getting called? Oh, Lord. Please don't say him. Hello? Man, I don't know what's going on there, but hopefully I'm not getting a neighbor complaint. That's what I'm praying now. Please don't say I'm being too loud, even though there's probably someone behind that door right there trying to sleep. But here we are. Okay. Yeah, no, don't even joke about that. Okay. Anyway. You say that online statements can cause someone losing the support of the academic community. If someone hasn't lost anything and has the support of her boss and hasn't lost anything career-wise in 3 years, what can affect her? So she then answered, student gossip, and that is not uncommon. Students, bless their heart, love to gossip, and that's a common thing that comes to mind. How can student gossip affect an academic's future work? Answer. Student gossip can cause people to not take a class or them to make fun of the professor. I've had it happen to me, and I know it has happened to others. And they can go to other external websites and have a great deal of issues. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hello? What? Hello? Okay. Dude, what is going on? I pick up the phone and no one's there. No one's on the line. What's going on? Okay, the goal is to not get kicked out of the room. Okay? Oh, okay, awesome. So you say, oh boy. Okay. Are you aware of any students doing this with Schofield? No. Are you aware of people not taking classes from Schofield? No, I'm retired. So are you speculating? No, I'm talking from experience. So the issues it created for you continued for over 3 years? Yes. The case then happened for me. The case that happened with me happened in 2013. Are you aware that beside me making my statements over 3 years ago, nothing has happened to Rebecca Schofield? I am not aware. I am outside of academia right now. So your expert testimony is not based in fact. Very hypocritical for her to say that. Oh, you're not based in fact now? Ma'am, for the last 3 years, nothing that you've said on your TikTok has really been based in fact, at least when it pertains to Rebecca Schofield. It's insane. I don't know what's going on here. So why she's arguing like this? I guess she's the moral fact authority right now. But she then responds, my expert testimony is based on my experience. So you don't have any facts. So you have no knowledge on this case. That's what she said. I have no knowledge of the damages on Rebecca Schofield in this case. Objected. Overruled. The damage on Schofield that I saw caused her stress and strive and tremendous emotional upset, if not physical upset. I did see that she suffered from physical stress for being defamed on such a public platform. TikTok. Well, are you a doctor or a psychiatrist? No, but I can see what I observe. She does this a lot, by the way. So anytime someone's like, oh, hey, I've seen Rebecca extremely distraught and stressed out, she'll go, well, are you a doctor or a psychiatrist? Can you actually say that she's stressed out, really? She does that throughout all today. Every single person that was on the stand, that was her play. So, yeah, no, crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And yes, people are asking, how bad is it? Yeah, it's really bad. We're starting off bad. Throughout the day, it just gets worse. It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And also, fun fact, I actually confronted her at the end of the day, and that will be in my video that I'll be dropping on this entire situation. So that'll also be interesting, so stay tuned for that. But regardless, back to Ashley's questions. I have a question regarding the nuclear reactive plant that you said caused 100 years to fix the reputation. Apparently, before I entered the room about 5 minutes late. The person who was testifying made an example of how a nuclear reactor plant, something happened there and it had a very bad reputation for 100 years or a long time. It caused 100 years to fix the reputation. Okay, so because of that, she's still kind of asking about the nuclear reactor. So I have a question regarding the nuclear reactor plant. You said it caused 100 years to fix the reputation. Was physical human, and in quote she said was physical human being damaged from this nuclear meltdown? So then she goes, as a response, I do know that nuclear meltdown caused people to report health issues. Was that a defamation issue? No, but it was a public relations issue. And that's when that person paused and she went off. So then we had a new witness come up. So the next person on the stand was Rebecca Bond. And Rebecca Bond, she worked with adults and children in family services. She did she did a bunch of counseling with children and adults. And then she worked in the Spokane Medical Health Center, and she was a mental health professional throughout her entire career. She had to diagnose and work with law enforcement under serious conditions, for example, when weapons were involved or when something serious happened. And then after that, she started her own private practice in Spokane, Washington. She then married someone who teaches at the University of Idaho and moved there in 2013. So that's like the backstory on this witness. And she's relevant because she's the person or the mental health professional that the professor has been going to talk through this entire situation. There's a lot of Rebeccas in this story. That's what we're learning. Anyway, what have you focused on in your private practice? Counseling. Has a license both in Washington State and Idaho. In order Do you need to have a license in these states? Okay, in order to operate, do you need to have a license in these states? What do you have? And now I'm not going after like word for word what they're saying. I'm just kind of abbreviating to get the message across. And also, I forgot to write in that now, if I remember correctly, this is Rebecca Schofield's counsel asking the new witness questions first. So Ashley sat back down, counsel got up, and now they're questioning the new witness first. And then Ashley will question her later on. And that's probably the one where Ashley questioned the mental health professional. That was the worst one. I mean, that was just, ugh. Yeah, you were sitting there in pain throughout the whole thing. So anyway, are you current on your license? Yes. Do you have any idea of how many adults you have provided services to? I saw a lot of people. 8 clients a day, 5 days a week. I've seen hundreds of clients. Do you have experience in crisis situations? Yes. And then she lists off a whole ton of them. And then she's also provided crisis debriefing and so on and so on. So she has a lot of experience here. Is there a tool for use to diagnose your clients? So she responds, to diagnose, you use the DSM-5 manual. Do you talk to your clients? Yes. So you have experience diagnosing people with PTSD and stress disorders? Yes. Did you treat Rebecca Schofield, the professor? Yes. When? First in May 9th of 2023, because I was originally fully booked when she first contacted me in January of 2023. Prior to the time, did you know Rebecca Schofield? No. How long have you been providing for Rebecca Schofield? Since May 9th, 2023, up until now. How often? Usually twice a month. Initially, it was weekly, but because her busy schedule being chair, we switched to twice monthly. What typically occurred during sessions? Well, we would go over at check-in, we would see if any situations have happened, and we'd go through the highs and lows. How long were sessions? 60 minutes. Did you make notes? Definitely. What was the first step for Rebecca Schofield as a new patient? I think listening is the most important to create a safe atmosphere. She did fill out an intake, so I knew what was going on. Is it true one of the questions was brought to you here? Is it true one of the questions was what? Is it true one of the questions is what brought you here? Yes. She said it was the TikTok situation. It was creating a lot of fear and safety, or a lot of fear of safety, and she wanted assistance in processing and coping with this. When you met Rebecca Schofield in May 9th of 2023, what was the original complaint? She did a good job with the questionnaire. First on the list was safety for her family. She has 2 young children and is married. She was worried about emotional security. She showed signs of PTSD, anxiety, and extreme fear. Lack of trust after being wrongfully accused of 4 homicides. It was traumatic. I was a part of the community in Moscow, so I think the anxiety and helping her deal with the safety and intrusive thoughts of someone attacking her or her family. She would check windows frequently and locks to make sure no one would break in. And as a result of continual TikTok statements, and this is all as a result of continual TikTok statements made of her tied to the murders. Did she report lack of sleep? Yes, medicine was needed. She was very cautious about the antidepressants because she didn't want to not be there for her children and needed to be there for her children if someone broke in. When she was there for the first visit, did you make any observations? This individual showed all the signs of PTSD. How was she in your office? As expected, she was agitated. It was difficult to see. It was difficult. She had no previous psychiatry history. Psychiatry history. And it was also not easy for her to reach out and be sitting in my office. So she presented all the symptoms, and I was able to make the diagnosis of PTSD over the span of a few days. Was there a treatment that you use called CBT? Yes, it's the most common way to treat PTSD, stress, anxiety. Has her diagnosis of PTSD changed? No. Is this something that usually goes away? No. And then she talks about another treatment method, which I didn't fully catch, which I think was PHQ-9. Did this change the diagnosis? No. Did you administer another test in August of 2025? Yes. Did that change the outcome? No. It came back as severe PTSD. Looking at her responses of the PTSD checklist, it's consistent with what you've seen from her. Yes. Were there times where they would trigger? Yes. When the TikToks continued nonstop, it got worse for her. The one saying that Rebecca was an accomplice and involved in the murders, being seen by thousands of people. Around the anniversary of these events happening every year, her symptoms get worse. So it seems like her symptoms got worse when, Ashley started posting more, or on the 1 year and on the 2 year and on the 3 year anniversary for when she essentially turned this professor's life upside down by falsely accusing her. So, whew. Did she increase seasonally? Did she also report that this was the same time the TikToks were first published? Yes. She had to have a loved one keep note of what was going on online because she couldn't watch them personally anymore. Based on your training, will Rebecca Schofield continue to need treatment? Yes. PTSD will not end and continued treatment will be necessary. When was the last time you saw Rebecca Schofield? 2 weeks ago. Was she still showing symptoms? Absolutely. Was closure an issue for Rebecca Schofield? To be honest, I don't think there's closure in this situation. So that was Rebecca Schofield's counsel asking her questions. Now comes Ashley Gilliard. And so notice how that was like short and sweet. It took not even 10 minutes. It was like, it was quick and done. And that's a theme. Because when Ashley gets up, yeah, you're going to lose an hour of your life, basically. Because she's going to be, so essentially, for the next hour and a half, she debated on like 4 sentences with this professional. Trying to essentially, is pigeonhole the correct term? I don't know. She was trying to like dodge and weave and try to invalidate the PTSD diagnosis here. So brace yourself. This is crazy. So you stated that during the time of the TikToks, before the murder, that the community was feeling afraid. You stated you are a part of the Moscow community, correct? This is Ashley asking the questions now, and the person answering is the mental health professional. Yes. You stated there was a feeling of fear in the community. Yes. Can you explain that? Well, the individual did eventually confess, but it was unknown for a while, and it was concerning and stressful not knowing who the murderer was. How did you feel? It was a time where I really implemented what I teach. Coping skills, watching my thoughts. My clients were very upset, but they were not accused of murder. But they did demonstrate stress, as I did. For context, she didn't have the other Rebecca as her client yet. As a member of the Moscow community, how did that make you feel? Objection. You stated that in your treatment, that part of your treatment, that you would remain objective because you were a part of the community. So then she responds, I didn't see Rebecca Schofield in any other way than every other client. I was very sad, but I didn't know any of the victims. I knew that TikTok was untrue information and was being passed on to thousands of people. All of the misinformation continued even after the arrest, which did not help her PTSD at all. So Ashley goes, and I'll get back to that. Do you normally refer to your clients as Becca or nicknames? And so she really sticks on that. But I mean, yeah, so she continues with it, like a TLDR. She connects with all of her clients on a personal level. Yeah, TLDR, she connects with all of her clients on a personal level. And all of Rebecca Schofield's family members that she brought up on the stand today referred to her as Becca. So it makes sense that her therapist refers to her as Becca because, they're connecting on a personal level. So she continues and she says, Ashley goes, "You said the TikTok videos continued over the years and are ongoing." So she responds, "Yes, that's what I know. She worked with the community members, and a symptom of PTSD was that she was avoidant." Did you view any of these TikTok videos or witness any of the ongoing TikTok videos, or are they just things your client told you? So she responded, "Ethically, no. I do not Google my clients. It was a self-report. A suit was filed against defamation, and a guilty verdict was found, and it has continued for years." I do want to correct that because no guilty verdict has been found because this is a civil suit. So she was found liable of defamation, but she's not guilty of anything. And they corrected that later on. Let's see. The death threats. Did you witness any of them, or did she provide that she received death threats? She talked about what had been said about her online. I do not go looking for information about my clients on the internet. So the death threats were self-reported but not verified. So you took her word for it? It's the therapist. Of course she's gonna, like, what? Okay. So she responds, "There were safety issues involved because the public wanted to know who the murderer was, and it was it were gruesome murders. No, I did not see the death threats, but I understand why Rebecca Schofield felt the way she felt." So they were self-reported. Yes. Clarify. Did they ask her about the civil case that she filed, or were there questions about her involvement in the murders if they were true? This is unclear. Let me make it clear for you. There was some serious attitude here as well. So she was very emotional and had a lot of attitude today. Let me make it clear for you. The questions from staff, can you talk about that? So she responds, PTSD was verified, depression and anxiety was verified. So you were unclear about the questions from staff. I was not with Rebecca Schofield 24 hours a day. What I can say, based on Rebecca Schofield's report, yes, I was not present. It was just a reminder between the community asking Rebecca Schofield because she had been accused so publicly and the false TikToks continuously were being made. It's understandable that she would be questioned by the staff. Do you know who questioned her at work? No specific information is needed. You took her word for it. Yes, that's what I go by. Are you retired or currently working? I'm in the process of retiring. I'm 73 years old. Can you tell me more about the PHQ-9 and the other one? The questionnaires I used, there are 3 of them. They're self-reported. There's no diagnostic tool that will confirm the diagnosis. It has to be from my experience and from the DSM-5 to diagnose. Do you recall what Rebecca Schofield reported on that questionnaire? That's not a clear question. When you diagnosed Rebecca Schofield with PTSD, do you recall what's on it? Objection. So then she had to reformulate the whole question and everything. Okay. What was the initial diagnosis based on? The initial diagnosis was made on my experience as a therapist, observing and talking, the assessments I made, and then Ashley stopped her. So she just cut her off. And she went, I got an objection that it wasn't self-reported, but now it's self-reported. I wrote, bro, what in my notes there because that doesn't make sense. There's a lot of those here. It just okay. So then the therapist responded, initially I used self-report. I'm very good at asking questions. It's a skill I've developed over the years. The PTSD diagnosis is not something impulsively done. She fit the criteria, and I've diagnosed hundreds of people. In my professional opinion, I have no doubt. So the answer to the question was self-reporting and talking. Correct. How often do you use the DSM-5 in your years? In every diagnosis. Do you follow the DSM-5 for every diagnosis? I have to diagnose, even if the insurance or paying out of pocket, it has to be medically necessary. It's a part of the treatment plan. It helps guide my treatment plan. How often do you deviate from the standards of the DSM-5? No, I do not deviate from the diagnosis criteria. No. DSM-5 from the National Library of Medicine, I would like to introduce it as an exhibit. So now, she's bringing up, I guess, the standard of diagnosing someone with PTSD. So she goes, do you recognize this exhibit? Yes, I'm familiar with the criteria for PTSD. Can you read to the court the criteria for PTSD? Can I read the criteria? So then she goes, in my assessment, this is the, and then she cuts her off again. She goes, ma'am, I can read it for you. That's what she does then. Do you recognize that it says exposure to actual threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violence in one or more of the following ways? Directly experiencing the traumatic events, witnessing in person the events as if it occurred to others. Did my TikToks cause any of that? Yes. She experienced repeated murders because she was constantly re-exposed to them through the misinformation about her. Ms. Bond, as it pertains to the 4 University of Idaho students, am I responsible? You said Rebecca Schofield's experienced exposure of a direct threat of death. How did she experience this? So she responds, this is a unique case. I feel there were 2 crimes involved in the murders and the repeated TikTok misinformation that thousands of people saw. And then she responds, we're not there yet. So let me clarify. Did she exposure to actual or threatened death, serious injury, or violence? And that's when they took a break / sidebar. So they had to pull everyone to the side and talk because, she was getting really agitated at this point. So like she essentially crashed out in court to the point where the judge had to go, whoa, okay, yo. So that was not good. So then we had like kind of a sidebar. So that's when they play the, so you can't hear anything of what's going on. So everyone's just kind of sitting there. So we sat there for like 15 minutes, I think, while they were like figuring out how Ashley should ask questions, I guess. So after the break or the sidebar, did Rebecca Schofield experience actual death, serious injury, or violence? She was not present at the location, no. We're here talking about my TikTok videos, not the murders. Do you understand that? Yeah, this is reported through my experience through the DSM-5. When you diagnosed her with PTSD, were you influenced by the murder of the University of Idaho students? No. When I'm asking you questions today regarding the diagnostic criteria, does that impact the way you answer my questions? Are you considering the murders? I understand that and then she cuts her off again. We are here. Exposure to actual or threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violence. Did she experience this? Yes or no? Yes. How did she experience this? How did she experience direct death, serious injury, or Yeah, objected. You answered yes to number one. You said yes. You said she had exposure to actual or threatened death, serious injury, or violence. So, what event did she experience? Why did you say yes? Um, so she responded, she meets the criteria. Yes, she was experiencing. There's just one needed there. She wasn't there. TikTok in itself isn't enough for PTSD. But what is being said, a quadruple homicide, is damaging, and it reached at least 2 million people. And then she cuts her off again. Oh, go ahead and finish. She's trouble, that's it. Like, what I don't know. There's so many things that just don't make sense here. So then she gets in trouble for trying to merit and not ask questions. So then the therapist responds, I trust my judgment. She fits the criteria. She has PTSD. I have no doubt about it. Okay, let's continue the list. Correct me if I'm wrong. It can only be one. You don't have to physically be there to get a diagnosis. Okay, so no, then her response was, you don't have to physically be there to get a diagnosis. I don't know specifically, TikTok repeated accusations is experiencing repeated harm physically, emotionally, and psychologically. I'm going to try to recondense that. I don't know specifically, TikTok repeated accusations is experiencing repeated harm physically, emotionally, and psychologically. That's what the psychiatrist said. No, the therapist. I'm a little bit unclear if she's a psychiatrist or a therapist. I didn't catch that. But she's definitely a mental health professional that's been working with the professor for almost 3 years now, since May of 2023. So, are you ready to move on to number two? So we're still on the same paper. We're just on point one there. So all of that was just the first point of that paper. So yeah, then she's like, attitude is there. She's emotional. She's like agitated. And she's like, are you ready to move to number two? And so Rebecca goes, are you talking about B? And she goes, we're still on segment A. So this was like A1, that's what we're at right there. And then it's A2, A3, A4. And then B goes further down. So she was like, oh, are we going further down? So the agitation was very apparent. It was very tense in the courtroom. So the judge just called a break there. He was like, okay, guys, we have to reset. This is crazy. So everyone leaves the courtroom for, I think this was a 20-minute break. Yeah. So we have our 20-minute break. And TLDR, it seems like Ashley is trying to say that Rebecca Schofield doesn't have PTSD and is questioning the therapist's credentials. That's essentially what it seems like from it. Obviously, I don't know what she's trying to do here. This is just my opinion from witnessing all this. So Miss Bond, or Rebecca Bond, she returns to the stand. She's the therapist. When you diagnosed Rebecca Schofield with PTSD, did you determine that Rebecca Schofield's PTSD is caused by TikTok videos? Yes or no? That was Ashley asking that question. It was the repeated experience of TikTok reports that she had murdered or was an accomplice in the murders. These are wrongful accusations, and the diagnosis fits. So then Ashley goes, yes or no? So immediately the temper raises again. It's crazy all over again. It was the repeated exposure of the TikToks saying that she was connected. That was traumatic. So yes, the TikTok had a dramatic impact on her. So then Ashley flips it again and goes right back. So she goes, let's take a step back to the DSM-5. And then she states something off of the DSM-5. Is that correct? Yes. Did the TikTok video caused this impact on her? Yes or no? Yes. How is a TikTok video doing this? So she responded, continual falsely accusing of a quadruple homicide. That's how that happens. So then Ashley goes, as it relates to the DSM-5, what is the relation to actual death? So she responds, in cases of actual or threatened death, as I understand, she directly experienced the continued trauma of being wrongfully accused of murder over and over again for 3 years. Ms. Bond, the question is according to the DSM-5. What is the definition of actual death? Does actual death mean that someone is killed? Yes or no? Yes. Threatened death does not mean that someone is threatened to be killed. Yes or no? Yes. Serious injury, according to the DSM-5, that someone is seriously injured, is that someone is seriously injured in their body? Yes. The traumatic event that the DSM-5 have to be actual death or serious injury. So she responds, repeated accusations of quadruple homicide on TikTok was the trauma. Earlier in the testimony, you said that you never deviate from the DSM-5. Does that trauma fit in does that trauma fit in being actually healed? That doesn't make sense. But she responded no to that. How does a TikTok video kill you? We're just getting started, guys. This is so bad. Like, yeah, no, I felt like I wanted to bang my head against the bench in front of me from listening to all this. It was rough. It was really, really rough. Okay. Yes, she is still representing herself. And tomorrow is going to be crazy because she's going to do her, she's going to make her case and she's going to put herself on the stand. That's my understanding at least. And do the whole thing where she asks herself questions on the stand. So, tomorrow might be a movie. Either way, I'll be here reporting on it. So, stay tuned for tomorrow, guys, because it's gonna get tomorrow's gonna be the craziest day, and most likely we'll know an outcome tomorrow as well. Okay, so, how can a person die from a TikTok video? Again, there's so many things that I don't understand why she's asking these questions. But she responded, I trust my expert experience in this, and she directly experienced a traumatic event, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Was it actual? She was threatened, yes. And the repeated accusations were threatening. Who is this person? I don't have names. Okay, Ashley Gilliard, me. Did you know I threatened to kill Rebecca Schofield? Rebecca Schofield was impacted by the false accusations. In order to be diagnosed with PTSD, the first step is a traumatic event. And according to the DSM-5, the events are actual death. Actual death means being killed. Yes or no? Okay, that's a difficult question to answer. I'll break it down for you. What is the meaning of death? Can you explain to us what the word death means as it pertains to the DSM-5? This is not how I interpret the DSM-5. Then she re-breaks down the DSM-5 again, and she keeps doing this. So she's not getting the answer she wants, so she keeps on going back to this paper, and then she's essentially projecting, I guess, how she perceives or how she reads the DSM-5, because you can interpret it in a lot of different ways, but I guess Ashley has made up her mind to closed mind interpret it one way, the one dimension. It's insufferable. It's so bad. So yeah, she keeps on going through the DSM-5 while she should be asking questions, but instead it's kind of like she's almost, making a case on the stand when she should be questioning. Meanwhile, you have the whole jury sitting there like I want to know what's going on in the jury rooms. Like when they're sitting at the table discussing this, I feel like all of them are just like. Anyway, oh yeah, someone asked why would they diagnose dead people? It's not to diagnose dead people. It's for people who have witnessed death and so on. There's a lot of ways to interpret it as well. But anyway, she continues. If someone is hit by a car, would that be an event of serious injury? Yeah. Based on this, did Rebecca Schofield directly experience being killed? That's a real question she asked. Based on this, did Rebecca Schofield directly experience being killed? So she responds, she was not actually killed, but she was threatened. Was she threatened to be killed by Ashley Gilliard? Yes or no? Yes, it wasn't just words, it was accusations of murder. That is a threat. You don't have an individual who writes about that online and 2 million people read it. Yes, this is threatening. The TikTok videos revolving Rebecca Schofield's involvement of the murders. So you are saying that people watch my videos and doing it. So it's just imaginary. Can you clarify that the TikTok videos might cause someone to go do a serious injury? Yes. So if Rebecca Schofield actually experiences death or injury from that, is that the traumatic event? Or is it the TikTok videos that's the traumatic event? It's the false information that we're talking about the murder. It's false information and we're talking about murder. It's a serious allegation that causes trauma. Did Rebecca Schofield experience? And then she starts going through the list of the DSM-5 again. So like we're still stuck on this first freaking paragraph of this page here. That she's cherry picking here. So I feel like everyone in the courtroom is owed damages after experiencing this. Like it's so crazy. Oh. Okay. So if Rebecca Schofield actually experiences death or injury from that, is that the traumatic event or is it the TikTok videos? Yeah, okay. So I already read that. My bad. Okay. So here I put in my notes. So I wrote, Ashley's trying so hard to trap the professional. It seems like she's getting more and more agitated that the mental health professional isn't giving her the answers that she wants. Einstein once said it's impossible to win an argument with a fool. So then the mental health professional then goes, for 2.5 years, I've heard and seen the assessments that PTSD is confirmed. What did Rebecca Schofield witness in person? Rebecca Schofield witnessed over and over again that she was being accused of something that she didn't do, and it was proven. What does in person mean to you if someone calls you over the phone? Well, this is a personal attack. Accusing her of murder is a personal attack. This is going to affect her for the rest of her life. If someone calls you over the phone, is that in person? And that's when she went, to be honest, I think this is nonsense. If someone calls you over the phone, Is that in person? Yes, because you're talking and responding on the phone. It depends on how you define in person. Are we talking in person right now? Yes. If I go to my Uber and I call you, would that be in person? No. So over the phone, if someone has a video on the phone, are they witnessing? It is not in person. So that would be a no. Correct. So then she points out the number 3 on the DSM-5. And the number 3 on the DSM-5 is learning that a traumatic event occurred to a close friend, family members, or close friends in cases of actual threatened death, or a family member or friend in the events must have been violent. I copywrote that off of the screen. I'm sitting in the back of the courtroom. That's not verbatimly correct because it didn't fully sound 100% sound there, but that's kind of the gist of it. Okay, so they start arguing about that I just said. So now she went, okay, let's disregard 1 and 2. Now we're only talking about 3. So that was an objection. So the judge steps in and says, you can't say that. So then Ashley goes, has Schofield experienced learning of a traumatic event of a close friend? No. So then Ashley reads, experiencing repeated of extreme exposure to aversive details of the traumatic event, e.g., which I think just means example, first responders collecting human remains, police officers repeating exposed to details of something I can't say on YouTube. Note criterion does not apply to exposure through electronic media. Note, it does not apply to exposure through electronic media, television, movies, or pictures unless the exposure is work-related. What is interesting here is this is kind of like, this is what she's trying to like, zoom in on this and then only focus on this portion. And the last sentence also says, unless this exposure is work-related. This is absolutely work-related for Rebecca Schofield because she's being accused of a quadruple homicide and having an inappropriate relationship with one of the victims, and she's a professor, and that allegedly would have been a student at the school that she went to. That would have been absolutely unacceptable, and of course that by definition makes it work-related. So that little sentence invalidates her entire point that she spends the next 45 minutes trying to make. Like, it's just so... Yeah. So, cooked. She then continues to repeat the DSM-5 so many times that they tell her that she has to start moving down the pages because we're still hung up on the first part there. I do skip through. I'm not going to go through just all the 45 because like at a certain point she just started going in circles and I was like, honestly, I am going to give myself carpal tunnel if I keep typing up in circles here. I got to save my fingers for what's coming next. So I took a little pause as they were just going in circles for way too long. So anyway, then after going in circles, she goes, okay, let's move on from PTSD to anxiety. Yeah, this is going to get good. Okay. So I wrote in my notes, I guess now she's going to question all of the professionals diagnosed disorders. It's so not funny as well. I'm laughing at her approach at this. I'm not laughing at the situation. The situation is so awful. I feel so bad for the professor. It's so unacceptable that this happened to her, and this should have never happened. And therefore, I hope that a solid punishment happens to Ashley for this because this should not be encouraged. This behavior is insane. We don't want this behavior in society. Society is way better without behavior like this. No one wants to be accused of a quadruple homicide, and then when the actual murderer comes forward and gets arrested and gets sentenced, she still continues to double down and say, no, she actually did it. You have the wrong guy, guys. Like, that's crazy. So anyway, did you diagnose her to anything related to the nerve damage? Somatic complaints like this definitely relates to PTSD. The nerve damage that Rebecca Schofield told you about, you stated, was this directly related to PTSD? Yes. Did you diagnose her with mental disorders due to her headaches? I do not diagnose physical conditions and refer to her general practitioner, but it does overlap into PTSD, stress and anxiety. What is your testimony today if Ashley didn't threaten to kill Rebecca Schofield about PTSD? Okay, so this is Ashley again trying to say this. So what is your testimony today if Ashley didn't threaten to kill Rebecca Schofield? What does that have to do with PTSD? Because I didn't threaten to kill her, so she shouldn't have PTSD. That's essentially what she's trying to argue there. So the professional then goes, Rebecca Schofield has PTSD. Did I accuse Rebecca Schofield of murder of the 4 university students? Objection, Ms. Bond has testified for 2.5 hours now. And then Ashley goes, that's not my fault. Bro, yes. Yes, that's absolutely, like the first, like, Rebecca Schofield's team, they went through the questions very quickly. We've been stuck on a freaking page here. Like, we've gotten this far on a freaking A4 in over an hour. Okay. So objections happen. They're kind of telling her, like, yo, we gotta move forward here. So she goes, that's not my fault. And then she goes, why are you here? And then the professional goes, to testify that I have diagnosed Rebecca Schofield with PTSD. And that's when the judge called it and was like, okay, yep, enough right now. So Ashley goes and sits down, and then Wendy, who is Rebecca Schofield's counsel, asks some final questions. Can threats be made on the phone? Yes. Ms. Bond, when you use the DSM-5, do you use it on a word-by-word application? I use the DSM-5, but not word by word. Did you use your judgment and experience of 35 years? Yes. Why is this a unique case? It's unique because it's uncommon to be accused of murdering 4 people repeatedly on the internet for millions to see. So you then look at the DSM-5 and so I didn't get that last sentence there. So then she goes on and asks, what does self-report mean? It's an expression of how she feels. It's not necessarily based on fact. It's just what she's reporting to me. Ms. Bond, do you understand that this is a civil lawsuit, not a criminal lawsuit? You know there was a judgment entered against Gillier, but not a guilty verdict. And she goes, yes. Okay. So, I mean, there's a big difference when a lawyer's asking the questions and you have Ashley Gilliard representing herself as a lawyer, or doing, what was it called, pro se? Is that what it's called? She's not a lawyer. She's not representing herself as a lawyer, but she's, representing herself. So, it's quite interesting. I got the backup water now. I already went through a water bottle, so I had to go for the big one, the big behemoth. Okay, so next up, new witness, Chris Hansen. Not the one you're thinking about, just similar name, same name, but not the one you're thinking of. Chris Hansen didn't walk in like, sit down. Don't worry, it's a different one. So, do you consider Schofield to be your friend? Yes, she's my best friend. Was she ever stressed before this event? Yes, but nothing that ever stood out or lingered. Do you remember what happened Thanksgiving night 2022? Yes, she called me at 9 p.m. And I answered because she normally is sleeping by then. When I answered, she was distraught, and she said she was accused of murders that happened 2 weeks prior. I was going to leave for my parents' house, so I promised her to watch all the videos. So I watched all the videos that was on the account accusing her of this, trying to understand what connection was trying to be made. So that's when they start playing her TikToks in court again. And I mean, it is just like, oof. Yeah. It's watching these TikToks that I originally started covering like back in like early 2023 in court. It's just so much worse because like I thought like they're bad enough when you're watching them on your phone at home or on a computer at home, but when you're sitting in a silent courtroom and you have a judge and a jury and everyone huddled around this absolute insanity, everyone's just like, okay. So anyway, they play the first TikTok, and the guy on the stand, he responds, or Chris goes, "This was the first video I watched. I could see it had many likes, comments, and a lot of views." And now the person asking him questions is Rebecca Schofield's attorneys. "You mentioned you watched other videos." "Yes." Shows another video. "Did you watch this video?" "Yes." "Were you afraid for Rebecca?" "Yes. I could see how many views it was getting, and there was a high amount of online sleuthing going on about the murder case. I saw how disturbing the allegations were and how many people were watching these videos. This video, or these videos in my view, were putting a target on Rebecca." "After December in 2022, did you start tracking Ashley, the TikTok psychic?" "Yes, I started tracking everything. This situation felt so out of control. That was like my way of trying to help and cope. It felt very threatening and scary as the online ecosystem at the time was desperate for any information, and creators like Ashley Gilliard were trying to fill that void. Would you report to Rebecca Schofield every time there was a new post?" And he responded, "Only the ones that were alarming." "Did you notice a change in Rebecca Schofield?" "Yes, we used to talk about once a week, and now suddenly all we talked about was how scary this was." Because apparently they used to talk about like, "Hey, what happened this week? I did this, I did that." You know, normal friend conversations. But apparently now they were talking about how scary all this was and strategizing and just trying to cope and get through that. That's my understanding of what he was saying there. So then they show more TikToks with hashtags. "I believe Ashley was the only creator that was putting the Rebecca Schofield hashtag, and it didn't take long for these videos to cross 1 million views." So that's what's really interesting as well, that Ashley started posting these videos and she put her full name as a hashtag in all these TikToks about the University of Idaho murders. Even on the videos that weren't mentioning Rebecca Schofield, they often had the Rebecca Schofield hashtag. So crazy. Yeah. "I believe Ashley was the only creator that was putting the Rebecca Schofield hashtag, and it didn't take long for these videos to cross 1 million views." "Did Ms. Gilliard's videos start mentioning Brian Koberger after he was arrested?" "Yes." "Did they also incorporate Rebecca Schofield?" So with Brian, when Brian was arrested, this was a huge change. So she incorporated it into her narrative that Brian was a part of the story, but wasn't the one doing the crime. Because that's how insane it was. Because like when new information came out, Ashley just started like changing her story to like fit the ongoing narrative. So she was just actively writing like a demented fanfic of this awful tragedy for attention on the internet. Like, ugh. So then they submit a new exhibit, which is Exhibit 13. And they show all the... So Exhibit 13 is literally just like this Excel sheet of like all of the videos that Ashley made in about, I think it's like a month and a half, I think it was. It was from November 23rd until some date in late December. So about a month, actually. How many pages are their videos? 57 to 58 pages. How many videos are in total? 115. She made 115 videos about this in about a month. Did Miss Gilliard post on YouTube instead of TikTok later on? Yes. How long did she post on YouTube? Until August of last year, from what I remember. What effect have you seen the videos have on Schofield? They would wear down Rebecca. There would be times where she would stop posting, talking about Ashley, stop posting, but then start posting again. So we would see this like unpredictability. So their lives were essentially like that. Suddenly, like she would stop posting. They're like, oh, is it over? And then she'd start posting again. And then, you know, it starts up again. I mean, this is so traumatic for them. Just hearing how much this affected this family and her friends, like it's so awful. I can't believe that this happened, and it was basically unchecked for about 3 years. Have you seen her scared or anxious from these videos? Yes. How? We talked daily on the phone, and I could hear the anxiety in her voice. These videos were seen so widely and could be the grounds for someone to take action against Rebecca if they believed them, and that was the main fear I had. The videos never stopped, and there was no way to feel in control in the situation. So that was the end of the questioning for Rebecca's team questioning him. Now the insanity returns. So, you know, Ashley gets all of her papers. She does the whole like, here comes Ashley, oh boy. So she gets up on the questioning stand, gets in front of the mic, the hot mic, and it's bad. It's, yeah. Okay. Have you been watching my videos since November 22nd, 2022? Yes. Do you have a day job? Yes. What are your day job hours? 9 to 5. What do you do when you view my content? I screenshot it, I take notes, and so on. You said there were 115 videos. Did you watch all of them? Yes. How many numbers of these videos are on Rebecca Schofield? A majority. So in the exhibit, did you misspeak? Did you mean I made 115 videos on Rebecca Schofield? So he responds, the exhibit didn't include all the videos you made. So then she starts going video by video and starts like quizzing him on her videos. Like, but only she didn't play her videos because obviously we're not gonna sit there and watch 115 Ashley videos in court. Like that would be crazy. I mean, it all is crazy. So I mean, that would just be par for the course, honestly. But still, she starts like, you know, showing the screenshots of the videos and asking him about it, like quizzing it. It's so crazy. So, she shows the first video, but she doesn't like show the video. She just shows the screenshot of it. Was Rebecca Schofield mentioned in this? No. So did I make 115 videos on Rebecca Schofield? Again, all of your videos weren't included in the thing. You said there were scary videos or threatening videos that I made. Yeah, you said Rebecca will regret this decision when she filed a lawsuit. The entirety of this video series is you saying my friend killed 4 students. Are there any videos in this exhibit of me threatening Rebecca Schofield? I feel like falsely accusing Rebecca of quadruple murder over and over again is a threat. You would post that she was going to spend life in prison. You posted her phone number and work address online. How would me posting that affect her? So now she makes the argument of like, well, the phone number and email and her work address was already public. So why is me posting it bad? Ma'am, you're accusing her of quadruple homicide, and you don't think there's a problem when you're putting the work address and her phone number for the world to see. Like again, the situation is not funny. Her stupidity is entertaining. That's what I have to see. I feel so bad for this family. This family does not deserve this whatsoever. Rebecca did not deserve any of this. Yeah, no, it's so bad. Okay, and it just keeps getting worse. I don't know how it gets worse, but it keeps getting worse. So then she starts going, well, how did it affect anything? Do you have the metrics for the University of Idaho website? Can you actually see there was an uptick in traffic? No, but I know thousands of people watched your video with that information. Do you know after I posted the video with that information that they had increased traffic? No. You said you would see Rebecca have anxiety. Yes. Are you a medical professional? No. Do you have any experience in the mental health field? No. She would like, so it's safe to say that you're speculating or something along the lines of that. And he went, I've been friends with her for 22 years, and I can see when there's a difference in her demeanor. So she goes, you stated that hashtags related to those videos had millions of views. Yes. Did all of those videos have Rebecca Schofield hashtag on it? Oh my goodness, dude, yeah, no. Also, just typing out what she was saying also was difficult because she doesn't speak. It's not grammatically correct. And I don't have a lot to say because I goof up with my language all the time. But this was challenging. So, did all of those videos that had the Rebecca Schofield hashtag on it, were those millions of views on the videos all about Rebecca Schofield? Yeah, or you put the hashtag there is what he responded. You put the hashtag there. And the millions of views, did you provide them any evidence to support that statement? Yes. So now she's like questioning, like, how do you know my videos actually got millions of views? Did you take a screenshot? Yes. Do you have it? Yeah, on my personal computer. So then she was like, oh, so you don't have it with you. And then she did like the whole like, oh, so you didn't have it with you. And then she also like every time she thought that she got like a win in her head in the court, she got like giddy. So she was like really amped up that she was like, oh, like it's so cooked. It was so cooked seeing it. And all she did was just make herself just seem incredibly incompetent and just evil, cold-hearted. Like it was not a good look whatsoever. Was the Idaho 4 a popular topic before November 23rd, 2023 before then? Yes. Were you following what people were saying before then? No, I didn't have a reason to do so. Is your testimony biased? And then she followed up with, you are here for damages. Yes. Why are you here? To testify that she has incurred damages from this. What damage? The damage to her reputation and her mental health. Are you aware? And then Ashley goes, are you aware that she was supported by her friends? Yes. What damages? And then that wasn't objected because, you know, she raised her voice and she's getting emotional again. And then it was essentially like a little bit of a, okay, chill, okay, sustained, continue. Outside of legal damages, what damages do you see? The anxiety, the stress, the fear of vigilante justice against her. You said you're worried about, the fear of vigilante justice against her. And then Ashley goes, you said you were worried about a vigilante. Yeah. Yes, is what he said. Has any vigilante attacked her? No. You heard from other people there was a threat against her? Yes. By email? Yes. Do you know if the person is connected to Ashley? No, I don't know who the person is at all. How is there a correlation between me and the threat then? This threat came right after the videos were posted. But you don't know the person? No. Do you know their motives? No. So that's when, Ashley, then she was like, that'll be all. Okay. And then she goes and sits down. Diabolical. So then Schofield's lawyers get up again, and it's still the same guy. In the first video you described as Miss Gilliard saying that she solved the murder. Yes. So this was a teaser of what was coming. Yes. And then in the second video, she claimed that Rebecca Schofield was behind the murders. Yes. And she used the hashtag Rebecca Schofield regardless of the video being on Rebecca Schofield or not. Yes. Did Miss Gilliard put a spotlight on Rebecca Schofield that wasn't there before? Yes, absolutely. She included her picture, her work address, and phone number. And this happened during the time of fear and uncertainty in the community. Yes. Is this why you were scared for her? Yes. Next witness. John Carlson. And then we find out that Ashley is going to testify either later today or tomorrow morning. And I wrote testify, but I think it's just her. Maybe it is testify. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow, because tomorrow we're definitely going to see both sides making their case, and then you're going to see closing arguments. So when Ashley makes her case, I forgot to mention, so Rebecca Schofield's side, they listed out their witnesses in the documents. So they listed all these people that are brought up. Does anyone want to guess who's Ashley's witnesses were? So she has 4 witnesses. Ashley does. Who were they? Ashley Gilliard, number 1. Number 2, Ashley Gilliard. Number 3, Ashley Gilliard. Number 4, Ashley Gilliard. Yeah. So Ashley and all of her personalities are testifying today. It's crazy. The video I'm making on this, guys, it's a heater. It might be one of the craziest videos I've ever made in my life. Just saying. So stay tuned for that. Anyway. Now, new guy got up on the stand, John Carlson, and Rebecca Schofield's attorneys start asking questions. Do you know Rebecca Schofield? Yes, she's my wife. And just TLDR, they met in Idaho. When did they first meet? When around age 13, 14. Did you date her in high school? I did. When did you officially start dating and so on? And dated since spring of 2009, and then got married in October 2012. They lived in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I'm saying this because that becomes a little bit important or relevant later on in the story. Did you move back to Idaho? Yes, in 2014. Why did you move back to Idaho? We wanted to be closer to family, and she had research trips closer to the US West. Did you remember when she started working at the University of Idaho? He said a couple different numbers because there was multiple questions asked there. I think he said 2016 for when she started working there. Moving on. Prior to November 2022, how would you describe your wife? Motivated, very professional, focused, very interested in being on the top of her field, but also very passionate in raising 2 kids. Is your family still living in Emmett, which is in Idaho? Yes. Prior to November 2022, did you see her experience stress? No. Or no. Prior to November 2022, did you see her experience stress? Not out of the ordinary. She's always used stress to motivate her and drive herself professionally. This is not like a full-on quote, by the way. This is me just kind of conveying the message as is. So, yeah. Were you living in Moscow, Idaho during the murders of the 4 University of Idaho students? Yes. Can you remember the examples, or can you remember examples of how the community was responding to the online videos? Everyone was trying to find something to point to. So I guess, yeah, this is talking about all the videos. Like, you had a brigade of videos of people trying to solve the crime of this horrific act. And it is really interesting because Moscow, Idaho is a really small town. I was actually there just a few days ago. And I went to where all this happened because they've torn down the house. There's still, is it called a vigil? It's not called Virgil, right? Vigil. There's still like, there's still a thing where there's like flowers and like teddy bears and stuff where it all happened. So like it seems like the community is still very affected by this. The University of Idaho students are still, very much so mourning this. Like, this really shook up this community. So the fact that like Ashley essentially tried to make it all about herself and destroy the life of a family all in one. Yeah, memorial. Memorial is a better word for it. So they have this like memorial still there. It's really sad. It is sad. But yeah, so this thing shook up that town. So that's why they're acting. And everyone who's like, or a lot of the people who were testifying here came down from there. Can you remember, okay, do you remember Thanksgiving Day of 2022? Yes. Was that the first time you saw Ashley's video? Yes. Rebecca asked her husband to watch the video for her when someone sent her an email about it. So he essentially watched it and advised Rebecca that she shouldn't watch it because, he didn't expect it to blow up as big as what it did. So eventually she watched it. Now back to the questioning. That was just me abridging things. Did you observe your wife afraid during this time? Absolutely. She reached out to the university and had everything taken down from the university website. The videos were getting more and more views. It took us out of this community where we were feeling this tragedy. Did this disrupt her sleep? Yes, I would wake up at night and notice she was not sleeping. I'd find her in our son's bed, which is the closest to the staircase. She was constantly checking locks and looking outside. We stopped going out to parks, going out to eat. We changed the kids' pickup schedule. Drop off and pickup was a lot different. Why did you make these changes? We had a lot of fear in the family. Everyone was looking for information, and that's very scary. Were you concerned about the family's safety? I was. Did you guys do anything else? We got door sensors, cameras, and always made sure that the doors were locked. So they enter a new exhibit, exhibit 37, and This is a receipt for a door camera and security systems. So on November 27th in 2022, he bought a little over $500 of security system equipment. When did you send her the first letter? So this is talking, the letter I'm assuming they're referencing here is the cease and desist that was sent to Ashley, which we also covered when it all happened. And here he answered November 28th. Did she stop? No. Did her video stop when Brian Koberger was arrested? No. She changed the narrative and still included Rebecca Schofield as the main person behind it, which was frustrating and scary. We thought that it would have been the end of it, but it seemed like it wouldn't. So then they show, okay, so yeah, this is interesting. So they show this TikTok. I hadn't seen this TikTok. So I guess this was scrubbed by the time I started covering this case in early 2023. So I guess there was a video, and there was a video posted by Ashley. I'm assuming it's Ashley. I hadn't seen this video before. Where she was showing a comment of one of the victims, apparently the victim that, Ashley was saying that Rebecca was, having this affair with. Obviously it didn't happen. She drove a white Subaru. So Ashley, of course, finds a picture of the Rebecca and her husband standing in front of a white Subaru. I don't know if you've been to the Pacific Northwest or the northwest point of or area of the US. There's a whole lot of Subarus out here. It seems like a third of the population is driving a Subaru out here. So that's a very common car to have. So she's like using this video and she's trying to be like, look, the victim that they were having an affair with drove a white Subaru. It seems like she was trying to allude that she was driving around Rebecca's car. Like it's so cooked. It's so cooked. So they show the picture and all of that, and he goes, do you recognize this picture? And he goes, and the picture in reference is them at a dealership, proud and happy that they just bought a new car. So it's them smiling that they just purchased. It looked like a new, nice Subaru. Do you recognize this picture? Yeah, that's a purchase of Becca and I buying our Subaru because I wrecked our old car. So yeah, that explains that video, I guess. Was the research, so it moves on, was the research Rebecca was doing affected by these TikToks? Absolutely. She didn't want to travel as much after the videos. She didn't submit as much research because all of the questions that followed her that she constantly had to answer to because of the defamatory TikToks. It has also affected how she interacts with the students because that's also a question that she constantly has to answer to. Because, yeah, like imagining constantly having to like, weren't you accused of a quadruple homicide? Like that's going to follow around. Like that's, yeah. And the affair. So it's like, it's not only a quadruple homicide, it's an inappropriate affair of a professor and student, right? So like, this is just so awful. Were you traveling a lot with work? No. Are you aware that Miss Gilliard made posts saying that your wife would hook up with the victim while you were traveling? Yes. Is that true? No. And that was it for that. Okay. So that was it for Schofield's team. So here comes Ashley again. Okay. Yeah, this is bad. Okay. So Ashley starts off by going, how close do you live to 1122 Queen Road? That's the address of where the 4 University of Idaho students lived and where it all happened. It's across town. After the murders, did you continue to have the doors unlocked, etc.? Yes. Because apparently, I didn't write that down earlier. Okay, so he did say that like he used, apparently they used to never lock their doors. Now they're always locked or always locked. So that's why she's asking. After the murders, did you continue to have the doors unlocked? Yes. Why, after a quadruple homicide happened, did you not have a security system? So he goes, it's a large community. There's thousands of houses. We felt like we were a part of the community and we didn't feel a personal or direct fear towards us. When you decided to put security monitors around your home, what drove that decision? Our relationship with the tragedy changed once Becca's name and the job was connected to the murders, and we felt much more in the spotlight. It then created a scenario where people would come to our house and could look for our kids. It changed everything. Before, we were just a part of the community. Did you receive any threats? No. So the fear came from thoughts you created in your head. Yeah. So then he goes, after living in Boston and experiencing the Boston Marathon tragedy, we saw how people accused so many people who weren't behind doing it. Once your TikToks were made, it connected us directly to this tragedy, and the videos made us front and center in the situation due to how many views it was getting. So obviously they were fearful that people were outraged about the murders and was going to take it into their own hands and show up to their house, which is a very valid fear to have. So then Ashley goes, are you suggesting that you were more front and center than the Grubhub hoodie guy? Well, nobody knew much about the Grubhub hoodie guy, but all the information of my wife was out in public, work address and phone. Grubhub hoodie guy was, that was another person that people were thinking could have done the act of the murders. We're in Idaho, by the way. That's all this happened in Idaho. I saw someone was asking, where is this going on? So then Ashley goes, well, you're saying the Grubhub guy was just a guy with a hoodie, but you are aware his picture was also posted. Yes. What makes you feel like your life was more special than other people? So she's like trying to say like, well, what makes you feel like yours way more special than Grubhub hoodie guy? So he's like, well, I felt like those people were just as much as in risk as we were. Did you ever experience anyone come into your home? Cars would drive by slow. Becca would get calls and emails from people we didn't know. Do you know who sent the emails? I don't. After December 27, 2022, and Moscow posted that they do not believe Schofield was involved in the murders, how did you feel about that you were still afraid? Oh, okay, yeah. So after December 27th, and Moscow posted that they do not believe Schofield was involved in the murders, how do you feel about that? And were you still afraid? Yes, because people still didn't have anything tangible. Were you ever still afraid of the killer on the loose? Yes. But you still had your doors unlocked. Yes, because we didn't believe we were a target. We were living in a community with thousands of other homes. Did your sense of fear disappear when Brian Koberger was arrested? Well, we hoped that would distance us, but then following videos just added Koberger to the storyline, essentially. That's what he said. Were you afraid That people would take my videos seriously? Yes. Who? Anyone desperate for answers and was disgruntled that Rebecca was now associated to it. What do you mean by that? Sometimes people who commit egregious crimes don't want others to take credit for that, so that was also a fear. Why are you still afraid? There were videos that came out after Brian was arrested and still accused Rebecca of being the one behind it all. The scenario that continued to give us fear was people potentially thinking that Rebecca was involved. Do you know any specific people in your community? Yes. In your small community in Moscow, that you are afraid of taking my videos seriously? Yes. Who? I don't know anyone personally. You said you and your wife went out less after my videos. Were you able to go back outside after Brian's arrest? No. Are you aware Rebecca Schofield was largely supported by family and friends? Yes. Are you aware that she was supported by the University of Idaho community? Yes. Are you aware of public donations? Yes. Even with all of that support after my videos and an arrest, why are you still scared? Well, we have a community of people who love and support us, but the thing you fear is the uncertainty. Did anyone come to your home? No. At that point, do you still have the same fear? We have more fear than what we had before your videos. I'm trying to understand. We have more fear since you made your videos. Aren't security cameras a normal thing to have? Many families do that. Do you think they're normal? I don't know. Then I guess they start talking about like school pickup and kids. And then she pivots and she goes, if you didn't work with Rebecca, how would you know that it affected her professionally? She's asking her husband how he knows it affected her. Like, if you didn't work with her, how would you know it affected her? Like, I don't, dude. It's like I can't believe I'm actually like this. I can't believe this happened. How is this happening? Oh. So yeah, no, he answers that though. So he goes, she used to talk more about what was going on and had more excitement. Then I noticed she started disengaging. Did you watch my videos? Yes, up until the spring of 2023. Were you still scared then? My fear was higher than it was before your videos. Are you aware my TikTok was banned? No. Are you aware that my TikTok was banned in July of 2023? In July of 2023, did you have fear? Yes. I'm worried those videos are still out there. Are you a psychiatrist and able to measure her stress and anxiety? No. How did she deal with stress before? She used to double down on what stressed her out as it was within her career. The fear of someone coming to your home never happened, correct? Nobody came to our house to hurt our family. And that was the end of questions there. We were asked to leave for about 30 minutes because the judge apparently needed to talk to Ashley about that. Or I don't know what it was about. But after that tense situation, they were just like, get out of the room. I got to talk to only Ashley. So the judge and her only talked by themselves for about half an hour. So, whew. So then we had new witness. And the new witness was Rebecca Schofield's mother. So Wendy, who's on Rebecca Schofield's counsel, she starts asking questions. So First, they talk about how the relationship was. They visited each other every 6 to 8 weeks. Mother talks about her experience finding out about the misinformation and about her accusing, or about Ashley accusing her daughter of quadruple homicide. And she breaks into tears. The mother is really affected by this. Like, this is life ruining to this family, and it's so apparent, especially after hearing. I mean, you heard it from the best friend. You heard it from the person she's been seeing for mental health, and you heard it from the husband. But the mother was, you really, really heard it from her. And this was harder to. This was the hardest one to watch, especially when Ashley starts grilling the mom, because this was so unnecessary. But anyway, Wendy is asking the questions, which is Rebecca Schofield's counsel. Have you seen the videos? No. Do you have a TikTok account? No. When you next saw her, could you tell that she was still upset? So this is speaking about the next time she saw her after the news broke of Ashley making the videos. Yes, there was a lot of moving parts, trying to figure out what to do with her immediate family and students and how she could protect her family. When you arrived at her house, did you observe any changes? Well, they were now locking their doors and always had their blinds pulled. And any noise the dogs made, she would jump now. And she cried a lot. Was there any additional security around the house? John, the husband, had installed a camera up in the garage and had an automatic light, and it would come on every time they walked the dogs. Did you or Clay is the professor's mother. No, Clay is the professor's father, so the mother's husband. Did you or Clay do anything different when you traveled to Moscow? Moscow, Idaho, not Russia, by the way. Moscow, Idaho, this is what we're talking about. So she responded, for the first time ever, we brought a handgun. Why? We were really scared, and threats were terrible, and we wanted the extra measure of safety. Did you have any new protocols with taking care of the kids? Yes. Becca and I had to go into the schools with my driver's license, both when I dropped her off and picked her up. I couldn't just go through the line anymore. Did you know the TikToks were circulating more widely in your hometown? Yes, I got a call from my best friend that there were several people at the school who had seen the TikToks. So now they're talking about a separate school in the mother's hometown, because Dr. Schofield does not live in the same town as her mother. Did you have other family members that worked at that school? Yes. Did you observe anything from her when Rebecca saw that? She was embarrassed and ashamed that she somehow affected the family. So now she felt like she brought the family into the situation, which is just so bad. I mean, I can't believe that this family had to go through that. Then she asked, did you have plans to go to the vigil? And this is about the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students. And she said, Becca and I talked about going to the vigil for the students, but Becca received a message that she shouldn't go for her own safety, because at this time, the person behind it all hadn't been arrested or charged yet. So, yeah. And, you had an insane TikToker saying that she was behind it all. So her going to the vigil, that would be, I understand how that could be a security risk. So then she started explaining how Becca stopped eating and stopped sleeping well, and she felt scattered after the TikTok started. And then she went on to say she just wasn't Becca. She was always strong, and now she wasn't strong. Is that different from when you saw her just 2 weeks before the TikToks were posted? Yes, it's all different. It seemed like she wasn't able to be the professor that she needed to be for her students and the partner for her husband. How did Becca appear physically around Christmas? Drained, sad, didn't want to see anyone outside of the family. And yeah, Becca has always been our glue. She's always been the one pulling people together, and she was taken away from her students that she could be with. She was removed from the connections that she made, and she was feeling very isolated. Is this different from the other time she visited you guys? And then, was Becca sleeping when she came down to visit you guys for Christmas? No, she wasn't sleeping. What was your feeling when someone was arrested for the murder of the University of Idaho students? We thought it was going to be okay because the poster who called her a murderer would know that she's wrong. Did the posters stop after learning about Brian Koberger's arrest? No. No, it didn't stop, she said, breaking into tears. What did you do when she kept posting that Rebecca was still behind it all? We sat and cried. We felt so hopeless. You would think it would stop, but it felt like it never stopped. Miss Schofield, in the 3 years since the Christmas when they visited you, have you continued to have regular contact with your daughter? Yes. Have you noticed any impacts from this? Yes. What were they? She continues to have severe headaches. She has neuropathy, and she's developed diabetes, apparently. Have you continued to hear strain in her voice when she talks? Yes. She used to be the Energizer Bunny, but now she hits a wall, and at 3 p.m. she's done. Her workload hasn't changed, but her fatigue from this just pulls her down. She has a difficult time sequencing through the daily advance. Yeah, I mean, this is so rough. The next question was, over the last few years, have you seen anything that makes you think the impact on her will stop? No. I think we have all decided this is her new life, and she will have to live with this. And that was enough questions. Yeah. It was... Oof. So, of course, you know what comes next. Ashley decides to show up again. You know, she starts racking her papers together. And, yeah, Ashley goes up and starts questioning her. Like, this is just so bad. So, Ashley, her first question was, you said you were concerned and carried a weapon when you visited her. Yes. Were you not worried for them after the murder? No. Were you not aware a quadruple murderer had not been caught and was on the loose between November 13th, 2022 and November 23rd, 2022? Yes. Were you aware that she lived 10 minutes from the murder? Yes. You were not concerned with the murder on a loose 10 minutes away from your family? That was a different threat because I had faith Moscow police would solve that. You stated you were fearful after I made my TikTok videos that you brought a weapon up when you visited them. Yes. Why? Because you falsely accused her of murder. When you name someone as a murderer, there's a fear of a mom that someone would take it into their own hands and neutralize that threat. You held me accountable for a vigilante in your mind? That's what Ashley said. I said you created the threat. No, so now the mother responds, I said you created the threat by falsely calling her a murderer on the internet. During that time, did someone see my videos and decide to harm Schofield? She's been harmed in so many ways. Physically, they've shown up. But physically, have they showed up to the door? No. But yes, they've done so much harm. Do you not understand how much harm you can do to a person? Did anyone come to the home of Professor Schofield? Not to my knowledge. In the last 3 years, nobody came to the house to cause harm. So the thought was not real? Objection. And then she had to stop. Oh, but speaking of the tarot cards, she's already admitted that her only proof is tarot cards. That happened yesterday, but she's probably gonna, whip out some tarot card action tomorrow. So we'll see. Yeah. So what threat did I put up on her? You said she has all these problems. Are you a doctor? No, I'm her mom. I leave that to her doctor. So her doctor diagnosed her with that and she told you? Yes. Did the doctor say that this was all created by Ashley Gilliard? What? When was she diagnosed with diabetes? Spring of 2023 or a little later, I'm not sure. What caused this? What caused this? Stress. What I'm saying is, Dr. Schofield, my daughter, has stress-caused illnesses caused by your posts calling her a murderer. She did not have these difficulties prior to your posts. Thank you for that. Prior to my posts, has Schofield ever had previous criticism of strangers? Yes. How did those opinions of strangers affect her? I think all of us have a coping mechanism for our jobs, family conflicts, and so on. But this is beyond what would have ever come up in a situation like that. Once again, you caused all of this from calling her a murderer. Not somebody who said you should have taught a class differently. That was the mother who answered that. Did my post cause her this? I haven't seen your post. You haven't even seen my post, but you're saying this caused her diabetes. Yes. And then that was the it for Ashley. So then Wendy gets up on the stand and asks, which is Schofield's attorney, and she goes, prior to Ashley, has anyone accused Schofield of murder? Never. And that was it there. So then they all agreed on three things for this case. They agreed that number one, on May 16th, 2023, Brian Kohberger was charged with the murders. On X date, I didn't catch the date, Brian pleaded guilty of the murders. In 2025, he was sentenced for the murders of the University of Idaho students. So they told that to the jury. Everyone agrees on that. So now what we have tomorrow is Schofield team making their case, and then Ashley making her case. Ashley's going to bring out witness 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is Ashley Gilliard, Ashley Gilliard, Ashley Gilliard, and Ashley Gilliard. And then we'll have closing arguments. So, yeah, this will be interesting. And by the way, yes, I did confront Ashley at the end of court today, and that'll be in my video that's coming out. So, yeah, this has been quite the trip. Hands down the craziest lawsuit I've ever witnessed. I mean, this is just so much more insane than the Johnny Somali one, or even the TikTok DoorDash girl one, or even the, what was her name? The Kelly girl. The girl who was doing bad things to DoorDash orders and grocery store items and stuff like that. So yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. Thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. If you guys are new here, feel free to subscribe. I would love the support. Feel free to drop a like on this video, and thank you guys so much. I saw a few of you guys joined as a member for the channel as well. That really does support everything. So you guys are awesome. I can't wait to update everyone tomorrow. And now I have to end my stream because I have to record another video for you guys. So yes, sir. Thank you guys for everything, and I'll see you guys soon.